All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast here on 1010XL's podcast platform, the 1010XL.com website, of course, the 1010XL app. We are live on my Facebook, and we are recording as well, and it'll go right on the YouTube channel and then placed all over social media and all over the podcast platforms that you listen or watch to. We appreciate all the support brought to you by my good friends at Team Tommy Mac. Please check out TommyMac.net. You'll see each and every logo right there on the webpage, and you click on it. It'll take you to the respective websites. I appreciate that. We'll talk about them a little bit later on. Of course, a lot going on here in Jacksonville, across the National Football League, et cetera, et cetera. Before I get into all of that, we'll say good morning to Grammage before we get into stuff, because I got a big thank you, Grammage, that I got to send out there on its Tuesday morning. But how you doing, my man?
I'm good, sir.
A new beginning.
Yes, sir.
That's the way to look at it. Let's see what happens, but it's a new beginning, and so far, so good.
What did we all, I think you agreed, regardless of, because we got into last year, and if it's the players' fault, coaches, everybody's got blame pie they want to give out, right?
Right.
What do we all agree on?
It's players, not plays, like I've been saying.
Well, yeah, but we all.
How do you like that? People that are coming at me, what the coach is saying. It's not the play. It's the players, right? Exactly.
But we all agreed that regardless, that they needed a fresh start.
Yeah.
They needed new blood, new attitude, new discipline, new focus. They needed to be that building needed re-energizing and invigoration.
No doubt.
With newness.
I agree.
Bad. They
Across
needed
the
a clean
board.
slate.
Yep.
And we have that now.
Yeah, well, with new GM, we'll definitely have that.
Correct. And
we'll see what happens with Ethan Waugh in his position. But the thing, and I got nothing against Ethan Waugh. He may be great, but I don't like that he comes from Balky. You know what I mean? There was a connection to Balky.
Yeah.
Not that he can't be cut from that connection. You know what I mean? Hey, man, I'm not like that, whatever. But you gotta vet that out pretty thick, I would think.
And I think he'll just be in his same role, I guess, just assistant
That's
GM
cool.
or whatever.
That's cool. Listen, he played a part in getting this done. All right, we're going to get into all of that and more, including the presser yesterday. Before I do, a couple things I just want to say. I want to say thank you to the Rawls Group for bringing me up as their motivational speaker at the ALC retreat. It was up in Lake Oconee, Georgia. It was at a Ritz-Carlton. It was absolutely spectacular. Got a chance to express my no excuses, no regrets tour featuring tough love, suck it up and be great, and the importance of leaving your mark in the world. And it was absolutely fantastic. I was able to debut a song. I'd never done that before, sang it a cappella. Song about my dad. It kind of wrapped the whole thing together. At the end, it was just a fantastic thing. And number two, Ragtime's out in AB is closing. The signs are up on the door, and looks like they're going to be looking for a new restaurant, hopefully in there, new something. It's all set up for it, but a lot of great memories in Ragtime's. I know a lot of you out there have as well, but I personally, for 30 years been going to Ragtime's, man. I love Ragtime's. The Dad Bod's set to play later in February on the 22nd, but that does not appear to be happening. So we'll be at Iggy's on the 8th, though, so we're still playing some music. It's all good. That's an iconic place, man.
Dude.
Been there forever.
Dude.
I got so many stories that I can't share from there and that I could share, but so many. It's an iconic spot.
That's arguably my favorite spot in Jacksonville is AB Town Center in that little corner.
Yep,
and there, I love AB, man. All the restaurants there, the beach right there, One Ocean down. I love that area.
And
so
Ragtime, a lot of people that go there and eat there know how great the food is, but it's was really great for their food, man.
Yeah, dude,
their menu was insane.
Really good, but that's like the iconic kind of staple there, because all the other places I think are newer. They're not new places, but they're newer.
But newer, yeah. That's
Ragtime's
one of the OGs.
One that's like Ragtime's kind of the one like touch to the past.
Other than Pete's, which will be there hopefully forever.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
But other than Pete's
like a different category.
Ragtime's been there for a long time, man. So, all right, well, we move on. New beginnings for Ragtime. New beginnings for that space. I guess that's the theme of the show. All right, we saw Championship Sunday. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Chiefs taking down the Bills. Eagles taking down Washington. Washington You just can't fumble the ball. But I mean, you can't turn the ball over like that and expect to win, especially when you're kind of this Cinderella team. I mean, you got to play perfect ball almost in order to have a chance, and it just didn't happen. But hats off to the Eagles, crushing them, getting it done, and then Chiefs. Can I tell you a quick story? So, I go on a Hard Rock bet on Saturday, maybe it was Sunday morning.
I'm hearing more betting stories from you starting to creep in a little.
I know. I've been doing it. So I've got this, and it was already preset, so a lot of people did it. I put $15 down on a five-player parlay.
And you needed Kelsey to
just to score a touchdown.
I had the same.
You did too.
Bet.
I mean, like you would think, like once Cook got it, you're like, Kelsey's gonna score, even with the 2 quarters to go. And you know what? They never went to him. And I wonder. I swear it gets me thinking. Because there are thousands of people that did that same bet. You can see it. Do they say something like, don't throw it to Kelsey? Kelsey can't score today. You know, wouldn't it be wild if that was true? You know what I'm saying?
Insane.
Like, that would be totally insane. But how does he not score? After the week before, they targeted him the whole time. This time they went to him, what? In 2 catches, 3 catches? That's wild. That's got a little conspiracy-esque on my side, but I don't know, man. I was like, how does he not get a touchdown? But the payout would have been tremendous for a lot of people. So
I had 50 on it to win 2,500.
Nice. That's a good one.
Because I had 150 the day before betting on the Gator basketball game, and I won.
Oh.
So I had $50 in just house money, basically. Yeah. And I saw that, and I was like, whatever.
You're a real gambler if you're doing multiple sports. I don't know. I wouldn't know enough to do it.
Well, it's just because I watch multiple sports. So I know Gator basketball as well as I do the NFL playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't bet on a lot of random college games where I don't know any of the players or anything.
Right.
But like my own team, and I kind of know their tendencies and stuff. I'll bet on it.
All right, very cool. Very, very, very cool. All right, big news around town. Of course, Liam Cohen has his press conference, the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, I thought he was fine. You know, everyone's like, he knocked it out of the park. Here come the lapdogs. It's going to be insane. The hype is coming. It's coming. It's coming. Whatever. If he fulfills it, I'm all for it. We're going to give him that chance. Look, I was saying to Grammage before we went on. I said, Liam's a little goofy, and I don't mean that in a bad way. He's a little goofy, and you can tell he's really smart, but he looks like a guy you'd like to party with. Like he would be fun to be part of your group. He'd be cracking jokes, having a good time. You know what I mean? Not taking things too seriously, almost, I don't know. I thought he just had that kind of persona. I love how he called his dad to hear. I feel the same about my dad. A lot of us do. He talking about his mom who's in heaven. I love that. The O-line comments. I mean, come on. Everyone knows we need a better O-line, which we're going to talk about today. Because what does that really mean? So who's getting upgraded? Who's getting upgraded? You got new money in your left tackle and left guard, right? You got new money in the center. You got Sheriff, who may be on his way out. I don't know. And then Anton. So who's upgraded? Who's getting upgraded?
I think
it's going to be interesting.
I think we all want this huge overhaul of the O-line. But
it's not going to be.
If you realistically look at it, there's really only one spot that's probably going to have a new starter.
It's the right guard.
And it's right guard.
Right guard. Yeah.
But like what? You just signed Morse last year. You're going to replace Morse? Of course not.
No.
Anton's a first-round pick from 2 years ago.
Right.
And he's been at best average.
This past season wasn't very good for him.
I would say this past season was average.
Yeah.
And the year before was exceptional.
Yeah.
And then you just extended Walker Little. Walker Little, you could, because they're not paying him it's not like he's making Trent Williams money.
No.
He's making.
You could upgrade him.
You could if you really, really wanted to.
You're talking from a financial. Yeah, you could absolutely. He could be just an expensive swing tackle
and it just depends on whoever they bring in as general manager and that guy and Liam Cohen sitting down and giving their honest opinions on left tackle through right tackle, go 1 through 5, and see what they think.
Yeah, you got to get it a little bit beefier up front, both sides of the ball. And look, I'm glad he's into that. I found it interesting, the players not plays. It's the players not plays, coming from a guy that's built his career on plays. But he understands the players have to execute the plays. I can put them out there on paper all day long. I can make him look pretty on the board. Look, man, you run this right, time it right. Look, it's 6 or it's a big gain or whatever. But the players got to be able to execute it. So I like that he said that, and I like that he said it with the players. Some of them there, like it wasn't any kind of. But look, hey man, it's the players. We're gonna drop the plays, but they're the ones that got to get it done.
And I think
like that.
I think the vibe I got from it too is that it's going to be more of a priority to make sure that week in, week out, the best players are put in positions to make those plays.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is, like, you go back to last year, how often the first half-ish of the season did we sit in here on Mondays and talk about how come Brian Thomas Jr. didn't have a catch in the first half? How come Brian Thomas Jr. isn't even targeted until midway through the third quarter? How come he finishes the game with 2 catches for 15 yards?
He's never in the slot.
Right.
Like Liam noticed that pretty much right away. Yeah.
And I think the way I took it, especially from an offensive coach, knowing that that's what he is, I took it with players over plays being like, nah, man, when that ball kicks off, our studs, they're getting the damn ball.
Yep.
And we're figuring out what's best for them to make sure they make the plays.
Right.
But there will not be, at least again, I don't want to speak for him, but this is the vibe I got from it.
Yeah.
There will not be a game where Brian Thomas Jr. is not a feature part of what they're trying to do offensively.
Right. Nor should he be. But you still got to execute.
We know.
You got to still get it done.
We know watching the games.
We'll see him.
We know watching the games that Travis Etienne is best used outside the hashes.
Space, yeah. Yep.
I believe that that's going to be a focal point.
Yeah, he should be excited. He should be excited.
I believe getting Evan Ingram matched up with linebackers that can't guard him. Christian Kirk get it. Like, I think we're going to get a little bit back to that in a good way.
Yeah.
I think as time went on with Doug and Press, and they did get a little bit predictable play calling wise, there wasn't good counter punches, in my opinion, that also still featured the best players.
We've said, listen, man, we've been saying it all off season, and even during the season, even on the plays that they completed passes on, it was like 1 of 5 routes that worked.
Correct.
And sometimes they didn't work because they weren't run the right way.
But
you could tell they were the same kind of plays over and over and over again.
It's weird, Tommy. I feel like you and I are living in a matrix. I feel like no one else noticed that one crossing route, that play action crossing route they would do.
Yep.
You and I have been on this for weeks.
Yep.
They run it every single week, and it's always the first successful pass play they have. And it worked, and it's great.
Right.
But
then it didn't work, and then there was a pick thrown or just an incomplete pass.
The Packers saw it on film. There was a safety waiting for it.
They just waited for him. Yeah. No, I know. I know.
What are we doing?
Then they thought they would get cute. They'd bring the crosser from the other side. Then they started them on the same side, go across this way, then bend it back. Like, you're really confusing them.
But it felt like that play was not a big part of the discourse. But you and I always noticed it. You and I were like, why does this feel like the only play they can run? That
works. Or the post. The deep post would work on a good amount of times, right? Yeah. Down the middle of the field, in between the hashes. It was great. It worked. So that's one thing I think we'll get out of Liam and his staff. There'll be much more creativity. Look, I like everything he says. It's interesting. What Dave Canales, right? He's there for a year, goes to Carolina. Liam's there for a year, comes here. If you want to be an OC to a head coach, go to Tampa, I guess. Get a shot at it. But and then the players, not the plays is. Look, they had some weapons down there. They had a quarterback that threw for 71% completion, threw it all over the place, had great weapons, great running game, And like I was listening to Logs, last night with Frank after the presser. He's like, Tampa's left tackle and their center are really, really good, but the other 3 aren't that, fantastic of players, but they play it the right way. So
it's not the Lions personnel-wise.
Yeah, no, right. But they obviously with Irving and company, they get it done. So can we do that here? Can we build it here? Let me ask you, if there was a change in attitude on the offensive line, let's just say they became nasty.
Is there a change?
Savages.
Is there a change in latitude as well?
There might be. There might be. Savages, like Liam says. Like the offensive line they turn into savages, let's just say. Okay? Would you change the personnel?
If they can turn into that, no.
Okay.
But we talked about that
and
before.
That's the question. Can you?
Can Walker Little be that?
Can he?
We've been.
I don't know.
We've been trying to get him to be that for 4 years.
Right.
You know what
but
I mean?
Maybe somebody else can get that fire lit inside him. I don't know. I'm asking. I still would like to see a road grading type guard. Listen, here's the thing too. Ezra's not big money, but Ezra could play tackle if you had a beast of a guard. He could. He's athletic enough to play tackle. There's no doubt. I don't know. Not your starting left hand. I'm just saying, like, if you needed him to do that.
Yeah. I don't know that they're going to, since he got the extension and stuff, and it may not make contractual.
Yeah.
Again, we
but
don't
it's
know
lower tier money, just like Walker, compared to the other tackles or the guards that got extension.
And again, we kind of say all this assuming, but we have no idea what whatever GM they bring in is going to think of this, and we have no idea what the closed doors conversations that GM is going to have with Liam.
Yep.
So things could obviously change. If I had it my way, Tommy, personally, I'd replace 2, if not 3, of the offensive linemen personally.
Replace or upgrade, because you might not cut them because you just can't cut them.
Upgrade,
whatever. Upgrade. Who you upgrade?
The starter would be a different person.
Who are you going?
I'd upgrade left tackle.
Yep.
I'd upgrade left guard. I would upgrade right guard.
Okay.
Right guard, I think you're going to do regardless, because I think Brandon Sheriff is over the hill.
Yeah.
Ezra,
I think I don't know. I don't know. I think you do have to upgrade right guard. I think you have to upgrade left tackle and right guard.
with a new head coach, a new GM, a new era, you can't keep hanging on to this guy that's
It's the same line for two years now. Like
that has
he's
not
got-
produced.
Well, listen, on pass pro, they're pretty good. I mean, they're giving up sacks. They're nowhere near. They're at the bottom, towards the bottom. I think they gave up 30 this year. That's on the lower end. The Bears gave up 68. You know what I mean? And the other but the running game wasn't. I think part of the running game problem, and hopefully Liam can fix, is the timing isn't always right. When it's right, it works. Remember that play we'd often call like out by the numbers, and the guards pull in a kick out, and there's a alleyway. There always seems to be an alleyway right there, and ETN would take it up there and get 10, 11, 12, whatever. You know what I mean?
It was 2 years ago now. He scored on that same. It was that same blocking scheme, but he ran that wildcat.
Yeah.
He was against the Titans.
Yeah, right.
Remember that same thing?
Yep.
They got that perfect alleyway, but with Cohen, it's a gap scheme anyways, instead of his own blocking scheme like Douglas. So
now you need road graders to
now
move
it truthfully is players over play. Like you run a gap scheme, it really is personnel.
Well, and just so people know, when you run a zone scheme, you kind of rely more on the athletic. You try to get people moving side to side so you can make your cutbacks. When it's gap, you're moving them out of the way and turning them. So you got to have some big beef up front to do that. I mean, real big beef.
And in Philly, Doug had this rare combination with his offensive line up there when they won the Super Bowl of dudes that were big but could really move.
No
and
doubt.
Could really
let
move
me
in
tell you
space.
something. That Dickerson,
Yeah.
he is an absolute beast.
That's a tough SOB, man.
Tough, big, fast, athletic, mean. Man, could we get one of him? You know what I mean? Play center, play guard. He don't care. Who's a young kid coming out of Bama? I wrote it down. He's a guard. Booker. Yeah. Tyler Booker, they say, is a nasty guard. I'm not going to take him number 5, but we need a beast like that, man. That's just like, let's go fight him. Granted, he's got some backup. His left tackle's 6'8", and a monster himself. Lane Johnson's got a ton of respect. I mean, they've got a really good offensive line, even when they get hurt.
So because of everything you're saying, Tommy, I want that. And I don't think this current personnel is ever going to give you that. I don't know that a new O-line coach is going to magically make Walker Little some savage.
Listen, God rest his soul, but Mike Mazer made our offensive line play a certain way. There's no doubt. They would all say that. Not that they didn't have it in them to begin with, because that's what you do. You get those kind of guys that'll react positively to that. But he did, man. He demanded finishing blocks. He demanded being aggressive. He demanded being tough, having that grit. Anybody touch your quarterback, you go get them. Just that kind of mentality. And that's what Liam's talking about. Getting off the bus and seeing the O-line and being like, "Oh, here comes the beef. How am I going to handle this?" Dickerson walks in this room, you'd be trying to find a way out.
And
there would be no way out.
That's kind of my whole point about
Yeah.
why I'd replace more than just right guard.
Yeah.
You don't do that when Ezra Cleveland comes off the bus. You know?
No, I thought Ezra, look, it's a zone blocking scheme compared to what he's going to go to. So Ezra may have to bulk up a little bit, but I thought he was all right this year. I thought he had a pretty good year. Overall.
I don't think whatsoever that Ezra Cleveland's a bad player. I don't think he's. I think he is.
But he's not a road
perfectly
grade.
Serviceable.
That's what you're saying.
I want my O-line to be killers, man. Yeah. I want my O-line to be
D-line
running over people. Yes.
Can we get a Jalen Carter?
Yes,
Can
please.
we get a Chris Jones?
Every great Jacksonville Jaguars team has had great linemen.
Yeah.
On both sides of the football.
Yeah.
And that intimidation, that all bus team kind of thing you're talking about, we don't have it.
Well, our D-line potentially has it with Mason and Eric and the two edge guys.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
That's exciting. If I'm
offensive
Liam,
line,
you got your D-line. You need a little bit more.
But offensive line, are you doing that when Ezra Cleveland and Walker Little get off the bus? They're fine players, but they're not intimidating SOBs.
Yeah.
I need
on the football field, you're saying.
I need a left guard. Like I remember when the Jaguars traded for Ezra Cleveland. What was the first thing Doug said about him?
Yeah.
He's a guard built like a tackle.
Yeah.
I don't want a guard built like a tackle.
Right. Which means he doesn't have a big ass.
I want a guard that's big in the ass and is stout and doesn't move and wants to embarrass and bully you.
Yeah. Well, it starts with that. And look, you talk with Liam and how they played, the Detroit Lions, how they played, how Philly plays. They all play. Kansas City plays that way. Washington needs to upgrade their old line for sure.
Who's the team that got killed in the NFC Championship game?
Yeah, they had trouble.
It's
they
not
had trouble. But that's football, a good D line by Howie Roseman, one of the best GMs in the entire league.
I think he's the best.
He could be the best. He's top 3 at least. But man, he knows how to put a team together. And I do think it comes from the owner saying, this is the kind of team I want. I want a nasty team. Like when Liam Cohen, if he means it, I got to think he means it, says, I want savages. I want guys that are just all ball all the time and ferocious out there. Well, you got to feed him that. If that's what he's asking for, that's what the GM's job is, to feed him that kind of personnel so he can get to work.
And I think with
that's how you change culture.
I agree. And I think with the offensive line, Tommy, specifically, this gets back to a conversation that we have to have, not you and me, but like Jaguar people.
Yeah.
There's good, there's actual good, NFL good, and there's Jaguar good. Our offensive line right now, I think, is Jaguar good.
Yeah.
They're fine. They're not terrible. I don't believe they were the reason they struggled.
They're not dominating.
I don't believe the offensive line was the reason that they were as bad as they were last season.
The offense wasn't mostly the problem.
I think it was serviceable. I think the offensive line got the job. It was very rare that they got – the Browns game, they were terrible.
Right.
But it's very rare that happened this year.
Yep.
But they're not NFL good. They're not – when you talk about the big, bad offensive lines in football, that is not an offensive lineman that's coming up.
No. Well, and look, to your point, Washington doesn't have that, but yet they find themselves in the NFC Championship game.
They did.
Because they're good enough. But then they get exposed, and now you know what the weak link is on that
And I don't
team.
know that's sustainable either.
No, you're right.
Like look, the Bengals had their historic Super Bowl run in 2021 with a terrible offensive line, right? They haven't been back since.
No, right.
And they've gotten progressively worse each year.
Yep.
While Jamar Chase is still there, T. Higgins still there, Joe Burrow still.
Gotta have the beef.
You gotta have it, man.
Have the beef.
And it's not just like the literal offensive line play. We bring this up all the time. They are your tone setters. They are your identity setters, your culture setters, your toughness setters.
Yep.
The big boys up front set that.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And then everybody gets it. Everyone follows that swag. But the D-line equal, they got to.
Yes,
and I think I agree with my friend Mark here. D-line could be great. I think so, too.
I agree.
Especially with that front four.
I think they're a lot closer personnel-wise on the defensive line to be that.
Yep.
I think D-line, Armstead was clearly out of position all year. We know that's not going to be a problem next year based on his own words.
Yeah.
Mason Smith, I think, is a star in the making.
He's on the way.
If he gets developed correctly, that's a star in the making. You talk about ability, size, and he's nasty.
Yeah, I agree. He's got
mean and nasty.
I love that. I like the way he plays.
And you've obviously got your edges who we know about.
Yep.
Personnel-wise, I think they need to change to two bodies in the O-line. My personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, on the D-line, you got to upgrade your backups. Especially if they're going to come in and rotate as a full line. You got to get more beef up front. And Liam said it about beefing up that D-line and stopping the run. Listen, and I know I said it over maybe while I was on the road or on social media. Look, he made a couple comments that it was an opportunity that he just couldn't pass up. And we all understand that, right? And I know people, especially Tampa, you're all upset. But if the shoe were on the other foot, you wouldn't give two shits how we felt. Nobody would. They'd be like, too bad. Too bad. You lost your guy. It's too bad. We don't care. So, and look, if you're in business out there, before you take that new job, you make sure, or before you leave your current job, you make sure the new job's secured. You don't just, I'm not working here anymore, and then go out in the free agent market. You go secure a job. Say, I'm coming over. I just got to let them my 2 weeks, and you do it all the time. You do it in sales. Media does it all the time. People do it. I've done it. Where I'm not going to just walk. I'm going to go make sure I got a spot, and then when I do, then you go. So I don't know why people are bagging on him, and it doesn't matter. I like the way Shad handled it. He was getting mad. Shad was getting mad yesterday during that press conference. Was it Martineau what did Martineau ask? Like, did you learn from something or something like that? Or because Shad had a comment, he's like, I'm learning a lot today. And Martineau's like, I am too. Did you hear that exchange? No. Yeah. You didn't hear that at all? I heard about it. But yeah. Yeah, I was watching it on my my computer, seeing the body language and everything. But yeah, it was good. Look, overall, it was good. So again, one thing I would have, and maybe he can't answer it. He kept talking about the standard. So what's the standard going to be? And what's his philosophy going to be? Is he a demanding coach of accountability? And it doesn't matter how. Could be light way or hard way. There's different ways to deliver that. Is he? Look, they're grown men, and I expect them to work it out. What I'd like to know that. How hands-on is he when it comes to the accountability department? I would think when you run an efficient offense like he did in Tampa, you got to have the players, but you got to have players committed and dedicated and running the right routes and making the right blocks and the throws and catches and all that. So I'm sure there's some there. But I like that he's going to call plays. Okay, that was a great question, Rick Ballou. Great question. He will call the plays, so that's good. Should
have given him a standing ovation when he said he'd do it.
Yeah, I know. Never understood. I mean, Doug, even the owner told, Doug, like, I want you to call the plays, and he still didn't for whatever reason. I don't know. That was then, this is now, but I like that he'll call the plays. And look, again, he's saying all the right things, so it's good. I'm behind him. His Duval was weak. He's got to work on that one. But you got some kind of, what you were saying before the show, Grammage, all right, so you got some kind of all
right, so hear me out. For the people. Hear me out, okay? So his Duval was maybe the worst Duval I've ever heard.
He just hit the wrong
No, it was
vowel.
Real bad, yeah. But he not only did he hit the wrong vowel, but he hit it with confidence.
No, I Too funny.
It's like if you miss a note when you're singing. Yeah. But you're a little more passive about it.
Yeah, right.
It's because right. It's a note you can miss. Yeah. Versus when you really go for it and miss, it's way worse.
Right.
He went for it and really, really whiffed.
Yeah.
But let me give you the opposite.
Yeah, give me you got some kind of theory on this.
Devin Lloyd, when he got drafted, gave the best Duval I've ever heard.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And he's not very good.
Yeah, right on the stage, right?
And he's not very good.
Yeah. I got to go ahead.
So maybe the opposite is true here.
Yeah.
Maybe if your first Duval is bad, that's a sign of good things to come.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe so. I tell you, someone made a comment on Twitter. I thought it was really good that Lloyd could be used similar to number 4. What was his name? Making plays. The one kept jumping over the.
Oh, you're talking about for the Commanders.
For the Commanders,
Frankie Louvu.
Yeah, Louvu. Kind of like that. I like that idea. I mean, all he did was really rush from all over the place, right? Played the run a little bit. He could do that. I'm telling you.
He's basically just
take him out of coverage. Just take him out of coverage. I think he could be productive.
Bro,
I really do.
Am I crazy for thinking that Devin Lloyd can be Telvin Smith from the? Am I crazy for that?
Well,
he's not as good as Telvin in coverage.
Telvin could cover, though,
I know,
and
I
run
know,
like
100%.
the wind.
100%.
He was incredible in that.
100%. But I mean, in terms of playing weak side, coming off the edge.
You got to cover, though. I mean, because you're going to get caught in coverage. They'll just exploit you.
And I have another question, too, because you watch.
Just ask it.
Because you watch the tape a little more, like, tougher than I would, like the linebacker play.
Yep.
Is it that Devin Lloyd can't cover, or is it that he doesn't know what he's doing?
More that he doesn't know what he's doing way too many times. There are times where he's on coverage, and when he is, he makes a good play on it.
So that was more my question.
Yes.
When he does, if he's just playing man, and he's on a running back or whatever.
He wouldn't be my first choice, but he can – let me tell you this. I don't know if he'll be in their hip pocket. They may catch it on him, but he'll make the tackle. He'll be right. He'll be close to being there.
Because I think that's two different things. It's one thing to be just a stiff, can't move very well.
No, he can
And if you're
move.
playing someone shifty,
he's athletic,
you're going to get left in the dust.
Yeah.
You can't do a whole lot of – that's kind of who you are, right? And you just can't leave that guy on. Or is it as simple as – and it's inexcusable. He needs to be better about this, but he simply doesn't know where he's supposed to be.
And not 100% of the time, but enough to where the guys are wide open, and they're running downfield without anybody there.
That's more where the narrative and the idea comes from, that he really struggles in coverage. Yeah. That he's in the wrong place.
He's in the wrong spot.
Not so much that he can't do the job physically.
No. Yeah. He can. He's athletic enough. Now, in his, look, the guy's 6'4". It's hard to cover it back out of the backfield at 6'4". It just is. The way they change direction, you're not going to be able to change on the same, exact same moment as they. It's going to be a split second behind, just because you got to bend down a little bit more before you plant that foot into the ground type thing. Ventrell Miller now, I think he can really cover. I think he's on hip pockets. And I think Aluakin is like 50-50. I don't think he's a great cover guy either. He's smart. He's probably one of the smarter guys out there. He knows angles really well. He knows how to play just from, the experience of playing. But I wouldn't want him taking a back one-on-one. If I get a pick, it's Ventrell Miller to take the back out of the backfield one-on-one.
So could Lloyd, and granted, they don't know who the DC is going to be yet, so you don't know if you're going to be in a 4-3 or 3-4 base.
Right.
But can Lloyd be my Sam?
Well, he's got to cover the tight end, and that could maybe help. He can maybe do that.
The problem is we can't completely get him out of covering.
Well, no, not if you're going to expect him to participate in the run game. Yeah. Like the run defense, because they're going to call play action.
Correct.
They'll just exploit it.
He
could play Sam, I think. He's and again, he's athletic enough to cover. It's just when they go last year, what was killing them, and people going 4 strong. And they had to recount, and then it's man, and then they're always bringing guys back, and, it can get confusing. And it happens like that, so, you should simplify it. And hopefully this new DC, whatever this split the coverage in half, man one side, this on the other, I don't know about that, man. Crossing routes would just kill that every single time, but nonetheless, look, no, he's going to be a part of that defense for sure. He's a physical hitter, and he brings it. So I'm good with that for sure.
What do you think about? Again, I'm just assuming a 4-3 base. A 3-4 would obviously change this, but if this was your opening day linebacking core in a 4-3, how would you feel? Devin Lloyd's my Sam, Foye is my Mike, and Ventrell is my Will.
Yeah, I think Ventrell's built for a Will. He's built for a Will. Keep him free. Let him cover number 2. He can take him all the way downfield.
He can fly.
Yeah, he can fly.
That really excites me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those three well-coached.
I don't think you go back to the 3-4 because what are you going to do with?
They don't have the personnel for
They don't have the nose tackle for
They don't have a
sure.
Vita Vea.
No.
They don't have that person.
Now, could they go out and get one and change it all? Sure, but now you got to make sure that Josh drops a bunch of weight, right? Because he beefed up to play end. Trayvon, man, he's just naturally 285. He's a beast. My man Brant Boyer chiming in. What's up, Brant? Congrats on the San Francisco job, brother. Fantastic. Brant going to be their special teams coordinator.
Love it.
Really cool. Congrats to Heath Farwell. Looks like he's going to be the Jaguars special teams coordinator.
Love that, too.
And deserved. I mean, come on.
If it ain't
our punter, kicker, and long snapper, some of the best in the league.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
Liam saw, okay, well, there's one side of the ball they had figured out, and that was special teams. If he likes being here, let's go ahead and keep him here so I can focus on offense and defense, and let's get this rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. I like how he said it was all about Trevor, and it is. It is. It's all about Trevor just being able to, efficiently run this offense, whatever that offense may be. That's all we need any quarterback to do is not make the mistakes and be accurate. Look, he doesn't average 60%. Trev's around 63, I think, maybe 62. He needs to get it up there. Now 70s. What's considered, because these short passes, before it was drop back and go deep, or dig across 15, 20 yards. A little bit harder to hit sometimes, but these dink and dunks, you should be completing all day long, right? I mean, that's just part of the offenses today.
The West Coast offense is almost like a base offense of every offense now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
With the exception of maybe like the Ravens and like teams that are a little bit different personnel-wise. But so the thing I'm most excited about, above all else, with Liam Cohen, he fixed Tampa's running game almost overnight.
Yeah, 1 year he did.
They were not a team that ran the ball super well until he got there, and all of a sudden, Bucky Irving looked like one of the best backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
If you go back historically through his career so far, throwing out 2021, but the rest, 22, 23, 24, every time Trevor has had a decent running game, he has objectively been really good. It's when they have not been able to run the ball and they're very one-dimensional, when he's started to really struggle, throw some bad picks, make some bad decisions. When they've been able to get 4 or 5 yards of carry and they can run play action off of that, they don't have to be as predictable in the play calling.
Right.
He's a different player. So that's the number one thing I'm most excited about.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you should be able to say that about most quarterbacks, right? With
I agree.
Good running, because that look, as a former backer, like that play action, man, that's no joke. Like you're good. If you're getting 4 or 5 yards a clip, I'm like leaning forward thinking, man, I got to make a play in the run game, and then you pull it, and I'm like, whoa. Even if it's for a split second, you're going to be open, more so than, they're going to throw again. They're in that shotgun with the back's not going to do anything. What is that, a power running attack with a 200-pound running back? I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like, we know what's coming. So, yeah, but again, you're going to have to change the O-line for that. They drafted that kid Barton. He's a good center. That was a good draft pick by Tampa.
Graham Barton?
Yeah, he's good, man. He's a good center. Of course, Tristan Wirfs, one of the best tackles in the game, right or left tackle. You know what I mean? But you had to get the other guys going too. So, look, it's going to be a combination of mindset and ability and how they want to block. If it's gap, then you got to get some hosses up there, man. And, I mean, these guys are massive. These guys, I was looking at these draft prospects as we're going to, eventually get into that, and maybe not all today, but the kid out of Kentucky, you probably know him, the Deion Walker, he's 6'7", 344. You see that?
No.
Have you not seen him? They say he's really nimble. Can you imagine 6'7", 340 having to block him as a defensive tackle, and he can move? It'd be an interesting combination, That's what I'm saying. So you got to get some beef up front to move those guys. At least move them just to split in so you can have a crack.
This is why I would replace the entire left side of the line.
Yeah.
I don't.
And right guard.
I don't think Ezra Cleveland is big enough, nasty enough. I don't.
I think he's got some nastiness, but he would have to get a little bit thicker in the lower body.
Yes.
For sure.
And I don't think Walker Little is that kind of tough SOB.
He's got the power.
Yeah, 100%.
He does. He's built perfect. I've said that many a time. We've had it as a reel. If he had a nasty attitude, he'd be a Pro Bowler, all pro. He's got that kind of skill set, man. Walker Little. He does. He's got all of that athletic ability, size, speed. Just got to, be a little meaner, I guess. Maybe he will be.
The other thing, too, is no disrespect to him, but I'm a little bit, at worst, I'd like them to draft some new blood for at least your backup linemen to maybe push the starters for a chance to start.
Yeah.
I'm a little over, again, no disrespect, but I'm a little bit over the Cooper Hodges experience.
Well, he's not going to fit this gap blocking.
And I'm a little bit over the Blake Hance experience.
Yeah. He's
Cole
not
Van
gonna fit
Lanen
it
is
either.
fine. You can keep him around, but
Yeah. He could fit it. He could play guard.
you can't get rid of all of them. Obviously, Javon Foster, you're going to keep around, but like some of these other guys that we kind of talk about in camp as potentially could make a push to start. I'm ready for some new blood there.
But think about this: Javon Foster was drafted because of his athleticism.
Yeah,
and he was a good college player.
Yeah.
Not for his brute strength moving guys out of the way. Because why? That's the kind of offense Doug Peterson ran for whatever reason.
Yeah,
get him moving and such. But listen, it's going to be an interesting offseason. Who do we go with defensive coordinators? Patrick Graham, who interviewed to be the head coach, has interviewed to be the defensive coordinator, coming from the Raiders. Durante Jones from the Vikings. He's a pass game coordinator. It looks like he's going to get an interview. I tell you one thing about Patrick Graham. I mean, just looking him up, he's from the Belichick tree, so I like that. He's been a coordinator a few times. Listen, you want to judge the Raiders, talk players, not players. Well, losing Christian Wilkins killed them on the defensive line. That guy is an absolute stud, and him next to Max Crosby, you know what I mean? I mean, that would have been a different thing for them. And that's what we're talking about here. And now, granted, Eric moves inside. We have that. But every team needs a defensive tackle like the Christian Wilkins, the Jeffrey Simmonses of the world, the Jalen Carters, the Chris Joneses, who's probably the best out of all of them. Those kind of guys. It just matters against the run and getting after that QB. And we all know when you get that pressure up inside, those QBs they're like gazelles. When the lion comes around, they start getting a little antsy, start looking around, want to jump outside. And then, of course, we've got the edges to clean up and take care of it. So pretty interesting with Robert Saleh goes to the Niners to be their defense coordinator. Again, Brent Boyer is going to go their special teams coordinator. Congrats to my buddy. Pete Carroll to the Raiders. Did you see that press conference? I saw clips. The guy's like, yeah, my dad's like, Pete's like, what are you talking about, man? I'm older than that. What's your problem? That's going to be interesting out there. I saw where Brian Schottenheimer brought in Eberflus to be his defensive coordinator, the former Chicago Bear head coach. So that'll be interesting. Man, Brian Schottenheimer out of the clear blue sky, it felt like, to Dallas. That's an owner that's too hands-on. I'm glad Schotten's not like that. That's, and Jerry Jones, obviously very successful guy and owner, but he thinks he knows too much about football. You know what I mean? He thinks he knows everything about football. And I'm sure he knows a lot, but I don't know, man. I'd be looking over my shoulder left and right if I'm Schottenheimer.
That does make me think about something I feel like needs to be said about Shad. Like and I get it. Trust me, I do the same thing. When they struggle and they lose, I'm one of the first people to be like, man, Shad can't figure this out.
Yep.
Like this is consistent. But in terms of what is attractive to a new head coaching candidate, Shad is everything you'd want. He doesn't meddle.
Without a doubt.
He's built that brand new facility. A new stadium's coming.
Yep.
He doesn't meddle, and he spends.
And he's patient.
And he's patient.
And he's pretty patient.
He's very patient.
Yep.
He's patient to a fault.
Yep.
He just has not been able to nail the hire.
Right.
But
we thought he nailed it with Doug.
We did.
I mean, everyone was, and so was I. A Super Bowl winning coach is coming here. Are you kidding me? This is going to be incredible.
And I'll still say that Doug was the right hire when it was made.
I agree with that.
You just got to keep trying until you get it. I don't know what else to say, but
right.
I believe that whenever he does make the right hire that is built to last, that is sustainable, GM and coach, I believe he will be at that point once that is set in stone.
Yep.
I believe he will be like the perfect owner to give them everything they need.
Yeah. I think
he doesn't do the Jerry Jones. He doesn't meddle and screw it all up. He doesn't force things on them. He lets them do their jobs.
Play calling. He should have forced them.
Yeah, true. But,
fire press or you're out of here.
Right.
Might have said that anyway.
From that perspective, he's a great owner.
Yeah.
He just has made bad hires.
Yeah.
And he's made a lot of them. It's almost impressive how many bad hires
I
he's made.
think and again, I don't know, cautiously optimistic. I'm optimistic. I get it. I get why you went with a young play caller. And look, if you want to mitigate some of that risk, you go to Sean McVay, you go to Kevin O'Connell, right? Those two, and then Liam was there as well. I think he went back to Kentucky to learn more about play calling, learn about what offense he wanted to build, and then we'll get back into it. McVay raves about him as a play caller, as a really smart individual. Kevin O'Connell came from McVay, so you got to like that. Now, it doesn't always work out, so there's no guarantee there, but I know there's some, hesitation from some of you about, well, he's bounced around every year, but I like what he said yesterday. Now we can have some roots. We can lay down some roots here. You got to win, obviously, but look, he's our guy, and I'm excited for him and his family, and now it's go time. The honeymoon phase will be over shortly. Well, actually, it won't be over. It'll last till September. That's okay. I'll get through it. Pray for me, but I'll get through it. And then we'll see how he does, and hopefully he's got the right staff. I read where Tampa's not going to allow him to take any of their staff. They're going to block everything. So, whatever. You can go around him. There's a lot of guys looking for jobs. You got to make sure you get the right job. I do hope he has a mix of, not just a bunch of young guys. I think you got to have a little mix in there, and maybe the coordinator can fulfill that. I know Patrick Graham's like 45. But
he's been around the block, man.
And he's been around. No, I'd be happy with him. Obviously we got to see how he does again, but he's had a pretty okay track record as a defensive coordinator. So if we do that, Baselli looks like he's going to have a position. That's cool. I don't know what that means, but look, he can be a great advisor, I would imagine. What kind of player, what kind of what kind of attitude we need around here, that kind of thing. I think Shad trusts him in that regard, so I think that's good. I'm happy for Tony.
For Tony, I think more than anything with Tony, the main reason that he can be really helpful for Shad is Shad needs somebody's unbiased, totally objective, truthful opinion who is not trying to save their own ass in front of him.
Right.
Correct? With Doug and Trent reporting directly to Shad.
Yeah.
The problem with that is when Shad goes to Trent and says, "What do you think's wrong with this team?" Do you think he's going to say, "I think it's all the things that I've done wrong"? Of course not.
No, right.
And you need someone that's in the middle of that knows football.
Yeah.
That's not sitting there worried about their own ass all the time. That can just give Shad a real opinion.
Right. And then that's a good thing. And Tony would be great at that, but he can't do radio anymore if he does that.
I don't think he's going.
Well, he shouldn't.
Yeah.
He should. And I think, you know what? Now he can really talk to the players because, some of them probably like, oh, man, he's on radio. He's media. The 5-0's here. We used to call the media 5-0 when they'd come into the locker room. Shh, 5-0 is coming in. So you had to be on your best behavior. But now that he's not that, which he shouldn't be, I wouldn't think, then I think he should be good. Good, kind of like a just good liaison, for the owner and for the coach and for the team. Tony will have, at least the respect from the players when he does approach them and says, hey, man, you got to, whatever, great job or pick it up, one or the other. So that's good for him, and I think good for the team. Look, we'll go through. Oh, Aaron Glenn, I like how he handled the media. Did you see that? When they asked him about quarterback, he finally just said, look, man, you can ask me any way you want. I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah.
What kind of quarterback? He's like, you're not tricking me. Like, shut up before I smack you one. I like the way he's handling it. Doug Marrone to the Pats, going from Boston College to Mike Vrabel's.
It's a good hire.
New England, great hire. Great O-line coach. That's his gig. That's what he does best, man. He's really good offensive line coach and has been for a long time. All right, we'll be back on Friday, and we'll just break it down even further, man. There'll be plenty of news and notes. Looking forward to seeing about Liam Cohen. I do have some mutual people that know him, so hopefully I'll be able to meet him sooner than later. I'd love to. Just welcome him. I like the fact, again, it seems like he comes from good stock. Look, he's a little nerdy, but that's okay. He seems fun to hang out with. And nerdy just means you're all ball when it's ball time, so That's a good thing. And you look, a lot of OCs, in my opinion, I would call them, I've often said, like, if I ever was, a head coach, I don't know where that came from, a head coach, I would have wizards as my coordinators and a lot of former players as my position coaches. I would. My coordinators don't have to be former players. They just got to be wizards, nerdy wizards that all they care about is drawing up plays and coming up with plays. And hey, I think this can work. And then you implement it because it is players, not plays. Thank you very much. All right, catch up with Tommy Mac. Hey, please check out TommyMac.net. See Team Tommy Mac. Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds. Carpet Man Flooring, that's right. LVP, baby. Morgan & Morgan, if you get hurt, go to forthepeople.com. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling for your junk that they refurbish and for all your construction debris. Fields Auto, love having them on board. Some great Cadillacs, whether it's fully gassed up, hybrid, or the EV. Go check them out. Azar Sausage, whether in your favorite dish or in a bun, Azar Sausage is the one. Code Ninjas got programs for your kids. Get them signed up. Age 5 to 15, codeninjas.com. Learning all about tech. Freedom Finance, my man Courtney Myers. Let him have it. Take a look at your business and anything on the financial end. He can act as a fractional CFO, help you with the books, etc. Freedomfinance.llc is the way to find him. Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, the #1 commercial real estate firm right here in Jacksonville. Make sure you check them out at phoenixrealty.net. Salt Air Inn and Suites. My man Kurt down there in Atlantic Beach, 4 blocks from the ocean, 2 blocks from the action. Let me tell you, man, it is a great boutique hotel with concierge service. Check them out. And Family Tradition Specialty Foods, home of Coconut Joe's. Their hot sauces are on our table. They should be on yours as well. On Friday, we'll go through some free agents, looking at the interior now. Free agents and draft prospects of guards, tackles, and interior defensive linemen. And then we'll go on maybe throughout the weeks. We'll go to different position groups. I don't – look, if you look at this team, and by the way, I meant to say this. Pete Carroll, Schottenheimer, and Liam all saying the same thing. This is quick fix. We can win now. They're all saying the same thing. I don't know if all of them it's going to be true, but I do think we have enough talent to win. I've often said that. Past couple of years, it's all been attitude for me. A change in attitude is needed, and let's see if Liam Cohen can turn this team into a bunch of savages. Wouldn't that be great? Kind of like old Oakland Raiders style, like almost criminal, but not quite. I would like that. I would really embrace that, man, if we had that kind of team taking the field every single Sunday.
The autumn wind is a Jaguar.
Exactly. The warrior. All right, that's going to do it for us. And we'll be back on Friday, man, 9 o'clock sharp as I get ready to go into Jaguars Today, which I do every Friday. All right, peace and love, and be safe out there. Stay cool, and be safe. We'll see you next time right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Have a great day, everybody.